Welcome to the Stygian Stilettos Gamer channel. This is Stygian Sis. Please like, share, and subscribe, and find me at twitter.com/StygianSis. Hey, Final Fantasy fam, this is your girl Stygian Stilettos Gamer, aka Stygian Sis. Oh, look at my poor garden. I don't know if you remember what it looked like last year. I'll put a little video in here, but it is an absolute wreck. It is April 18th. I'm finally ready to clear this bad boy out. You can see I've been mowing. We're going to be laying out grass seed. Going to get everything nice looking. So my plan of attack is first I'm just going to take up the top layer of dirt, basically get all the weeds. I'm going to use a rake it all out. Like you can see here in the corner where I've sort of started. That's probably a good 6 inches of dirt that I've taken out. And I've got some nice topsoil and going to use some Miracle Grow plus some Miracle Grow feed. Get a nice blend going there. And then I'll start planting my sunflowers. I'll start planting my golden stargazers here, white lilies, pretty much anything I can fit in here. Sunflowers are not in Aerith's garden. Daisies are actually, and I will be planting some daisies for Zach, but sunflowers are actually one of Zach's motifs as well. So I just since last year I just loved having the sunflowers blooming in the garden all winter. I'm sorry, not all winter, all summer. So gonna do that again. But yeah, whew, you all will get to see the transformation. Okay, so you can see it's already looking better, shockingly enough. You can actually see a lot more of the border here. Right now I'm using this metal rake, those nice sharp teeth, and just hacking away, trying to dig out what I can with the metal rake. I'm going to also be cleaning up the sides here, of course. As I said, laying down grass seed. I'll be using a weed eater to clear out the sides, and I'm actually going to carefully spray some weed and grass killer around the perimeter, because one thing that happens is the more you have to keep cutting around it in particular, the more you're going to get weeds, because grass starts flying as you're cutting with the weed eater, and then eventually that will start making weeds grow. Already seeing very nasty bugs in here, so not excited about that. Gonna be dealing with a lot of that because this has been untouched for probably half a year, so gonna have to be careful. But yeah, making progress. All right, so we're making progress, believe it or not. I got this side probably about, as you can see, it's an 8-footer, 8 or 10. I think it's 8, whatever. I have about 3-ish feet that is ready to go. My golden stargazer lilies came in. I did have some before, but they dried up, so I had to buy some more. Also got some white lilies, got some daisies. Haven't quite decided what I'm gonna do with the daisies. I might use one of the pots for them. I'm also going to pot a few of the lilies and stargazers just to kind of compare and contrast, see how they grow in a pot versus, an actual garden. So what I'm going to do right now is try to even out this dirt as much as possible. Then I have lots of topsoil, and I have some garden soil that I'm going to spread throughout here, and then I will be ready to plant. And because I just got those, and it says to plant them as soon as possible. I don't want them to dry out or anything bad to happen again. So definitely going to get these in the ground as soon as possible. All right, as you can see, that is looking worlds better than it did. What I did is, after I dug it out, as you saw in the last video, I put a layer of bug killer. It's this powder that you put in. It's safe for plants. And then I put a bunch of Miracle Grow seeds down there. Now, what I'm going to do is do the same thing on top, and I'll be ready to plant my bulbs. Hey Final Fantasy fam, this is your girl Stygian Stilettos Gamer, aka Stygian Sis. So this is the side that I did first. Looks a little messy right now because I'm currently digging up the middle and this side. Just want to kind of explain what I'm doing. So using these 3 instruments right here, and this is to help break up the dirt mostly, and also like particularly around the edges of the garden. It's gonna help get that dirt up around the edges of the garden. Then the rake here, this is really good for pulling a lot of the, particularly the shallow weeds right out. It can get a lot of them right out of the root. The shovel is for the weeds that are really, really deep. I'll show you an example. This one, and this is just one of many. They had really deep roots, so what I've been doing is just digging them out, like taking the shovel and digging them out right from the root, pulling them right out and dumping them in the trash can. So those are the instruments I'm using. Now around the perimeter of the garden, I'm going to have to use probably a weed eater, part hands, and then I'm going to spray some weed killer very carefully around the perimeter. Weed and grass killer. I prefer to just have it clean where I don't have to keep cutting around it. But we'll see how that goes. Obviously, it's got to be not close enough to the dirt to where it's going to seep in and possibly harm the plants. So I hopefully can do it without harming anything that's going to be growing here. But that's what I'm currently doing right now. So let me get these weeds out and we'll have another video. All right, this is about 10 minutes with the metal rake. You can see a lot has been cleared out, but now it's more apparent which ones I need to use the shovel or that other tool with. Right here, these I raked at them a few times, didn't budge. Still a little debris left, but I'm going to go ahead and use the shovel and get those out first right there, and try to use that other tool on the edges here and see what is left after that. All right, here's one of those weeds I was talking about. See how gigantic it is and how deep those roots are. Now, I'm sure I could shake off a lot of this dirt if I needed to. Generally, and this is a mistake I made, just because I'm new to gardening, I should have kept this de-weeded throughout the year. But I just left it alone, as we can all tell clearly. So, because what you want to do is save as much of the nutrients and the dirt that you originally used before. Not only did I put a lot of miracle-grow and stuff in here, but just by simply planting plants in the dirt, the plant leaves a lot of itself, like the roots, and those roots carry a lot of nutrients that will help your plants in the future grow. So, in hindsight, I will definitely be keeping this garden de-weeded in the future, but just showing how big and how deep some of these roots go for these weeds. All right, look at this. So it's almost completely de-weeded. You can see I even went around the perimeter. And all those weeds, a few left here I'll dig out. But this is about as good as it's gonna get. You can never completely avoid weeds. So I think this is good. Got a lot of the roots out. I see 2 or 3 more areas. I'm going to poke some out manually with my hand. And then what I'm going to do is start mixing topsoil with, I believe I got a brand called Expert Garden out of Walmart that's being delivered. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm waiting for it to be delivered, so I'm going to go ahead and put the topsoil and mix it in with what's already here. Try to mix it in real good, get some of these clumps out with the shovel. You know, just break up some of those clumps with the shovel or the rake. Get it mixed in real good and try to even it out as much as possible. And that should be just in time for my dirt to be here. Then I'm going to do the same thing when the dirt gets here. Do some Miracle-Gro with some topsoil mixed in. Oh, I'm sorry, not Miracle-Gro. Garden soil, basically. There's different brands. You can have any brand. I normally get out of Miracle-Gro or Expert Garden. Just because it's cheap. It's dirt, you know. I don't believe in spending inordinate amounts of money for things that are just lying around in nature. So the reason I'm using topsoil is because it's cheaper, but the reason I'm using garden soil with it is because it retains water better, I believe. And then it, the dirt that they sell like that also automatically has a lot of nutrients that they put in it and stuff like that. So since I'm trying to fill up an 8-foot garden, that's kind of what I went with, is just kind of get some of the really cheap dirt, because it's like $3 a bag, and then get a little more expensive dirt that's going to help keep the moisture and keep the soil nice and rich. All right, I've got all new dirt in here. It's looking good. Got a few more stargazers I need to put in here. And then I will be able to start on the sunflowers, the daisies, anything else I can fit in here. I have a ton of varieties of sunflowers, so I just got to decide which ones I want to put in here. Then, of course, as I mentioned, I'll be cleaning up this perimeter as well, and got to cut the grass again. So, but yeah, that looks worlds better than it did just a month ago. It took me, I guess, 3 days in total. It was pretty hot. It was about 80 degrees over the weekend, so I didn't want to overexhaust myself and work too much. So I just kind of took my time with it, but there you go. This is Stygian Stilettos Gamer, and I am hashtag out of here, honey.